Hello from nowhere. I'm Kurt the Gardener. We're high atop Mystic Mountain in the fantastical land of nowhere. And if you're joining me, I want to thank you for your time. I so much do appreciate your time. And if you want, subscribe, like, hit the bell, send the disclaimers, fire the fireworks. I don't care if you want to. All right. So today I want to read something. It's probably pretty short. It's one of my writings, like everything else on this channel. It's about blessings and blessed above all others. You write things down so you never forget them. Sometimes you're going to forget something, and if you have it wrote down, you just have to read it. How awful it is to wish your suffering on other people. How awful it would be if everyone who was a victim of abuse, rape, or violence said, I think the whole entire world should have to suffer in the same way I suffered because I had to, so they should too. How truly awful it is to wish your suffering upon others. How wonderful and how much of a blessing it is when the elderly forgive the young for the transgressions the young do against them in the form of disrespect, anger, and other forms of resentful aggressions. For it surely shows that the elders are blessed with empathy, compassion, and mercy. How wonderful and great it is to see the young when they do not steal, disrespect, and aggress towards the elderly. For it truly shows the seeds of a brighter and better tomorrow have been planted, and the potential they are in will surely sprout and bloom into the most beautiful of flowers. But blessed above all it is when neither old or young do to each other what they themselves would hate to be done to themselves. I don't need to know who or where I come from to know that everyone on this earth is my family. Spoil your pets and companions, for as short as our days are, so are theirs far shorter. Do not be afraid, for I alone create both good and evil, order and chaos, day and night, the light and the darkness. I taught the lion how to roar and the deer how to run. I taught the rabbit how to burrow and hide, and the coyote how to howl and chase. Wherever anything is, so too am I there also. I knew you before I formed you. How could I not? What is in you is me, and it is not a question of who you are, but what you are. Every day is a new day for me to be manifested and walk this earth through you and all of my other children of the earth. When this is realized, my kingdom will come, and my will, it will be done. Blessed are those that believe despite not seeing, yet believe anyways, means this. Sometimes I want to give up and tap out in pure frustration and pure hopelessness. By blind faith, I do not. By faith, I do not throw my burden down. Not by knowing what is on the horizon waiting, but by faith that there is something on the horizon. Do I refuse to lay my cross down? Not by sight, but by faith do we walk. Not by a welcoming greeting are we born, nor an embracing world do we live, but in a hostile environment do we dwell and endure. It is in our weakness that God is made perfect. In devotion to the teachings of the Master that manifested in flesh and walked upon this earth just as we do and just as we are. It is in this devotion that we refuse to become wolves among wolves. It is in grace that we are forgiven when we fail at this. And it is in humility that we learn that I am not different from you, and you are not different from me. I am not special, and neither are you. We are all the same. We can't be anything else but that. When Christ walks this earth again, when God manifests upon this earth again, when the Word becomes flesh, is when we realize that we are not different. When we realize that how I feel, so too does my neighbor. How I hurt, so too does my neighbor. How I bleed and cry, so too does my neighbor. When our neighbors stop being strangers and become to us what they have always been, our brothers and sisters, that is when God walks this earth again. When the will of God is done, is when against certain uncertainty and against immense impossibility, that we can see through all that is a veil of ugliness. When we become the light of the world and cast out the darkness by illuminating this world, despite what the world does to me, I lean on the Word as my salvation, and the Word is love, and love is God, and because it is love, I am called to love, even in the face of unspeakable and unbearable hate. Don't put your cross down. Pick it up and march. It's a long way to the top of the mountain. Even if it kills you, fight the good fight every day. Because if you don't, no one else will. If you don't become what is good, there won't be good in this world. It's not or never, because it won't be later. If you're waiting and fixating on some place you go to when you die, I can assure you, I live in heaven and hell every day of my life. Just like the kingdom of God, you don't have to die to get there. There's not a person upon this earth that said, I follow you, Jesus, that doesn't have scars to show for it. Some of us got many scars before we started walking behind you. Some of us are scarred across our hearts, and some of us, there wouldn't be much of anything left without you. Build the kingdom is when God will walk the earth again. Build the kingdom is when you choose to be sheep among wolves. Build the kingdom is when you're met with hostility. You respond with compassion, understanding, forgiveness, mercy, and God's self, love. That is when God will walk the earth again. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. I want to thank you if you watched my video and you hung out to the end. I so much do appreciate your time. Guys, I want you to always remember, you cannot, just like the Jews couldn't stick God behind a curtain, you can't put God in a box. Everybody on this earth is your brother and sister. You are just like them. I am just like them. And I want you to understand, most of all, that God would rather his will be done through you than you go around talking. So you can talk, but also understand at the same time that faith without works, it doesn't mean a whole lot. Guys, thank you. I'm Kurt the gardener, and I want to remind you that you are always welcome here in nowhere.